Everyone's been talking about ChatGPT use cases such as writing code, writing ads, learning a language, preparing for interviews, and so on. So today, I tried ChatGPT for a fairly niche, yet extremely lucrative use case, medical documentation. Medical documentation is a multi-billion-dollar industry where medical scribes document doctor-patient conversations or dictations into a specific format called SOAP notes for billing purposes. Given ChatGPT's broad knowledge base and its ability to synthesize, I did an experiment where I provided a doctor-patient conversation transcript to ChatGPT to see if it could generate a SOAP note. Within a few seconds, ChatGPT generated each section of the SOAP note: subjective, objective, assessment, and plan, accurately and concisely. Since doctors and patients do a lot of small talking in between actual medical discussions, I experimented with weaving small talks in different sections of the original transcript to see if that would throwjack ChatGPT off. And the results remained highly accurate. ChatGPT was not at all distracted by the random small talks. Since each doctor has different formatting preferences for their SOAP notes, I then experimented with customizing the SOAP note with this highlighted template. I asked ChatGPT to create subsections called Chief Complaint and HPI under the subjective section. Again, ChatGPT created a SOAP note structured exactly as requested. Next, I experimented with removing speaker labels from the transcript so that the transcript is basically just one blob of text without any indication of what the doctor or patient said. Once again, the SOAP note was not at all impacted by the lack of speaker information. In fact, ChatGPT was able to infer from the context of the conversation which sentence was said by the doctor versus the patient. This is significant since most speech recognition engines are not very good at recognizing speakers. In the real world, doctor-patient conversations never actually happen in a linear, orderly fashion, and they often jump from topic to topic, back and forth. So to experiment with topics being discussed sporadically across a conversation, I inserted discussions of medication in multiple places in the original conversation. I then asked ChatGPT to generate a SOAP notes. You can see here, medication discussions from multiple places were perfectly summarized into a single current medication section. Next, I asked ChatGPT to extract medical entities like symptoms, diseases, medications, and anatomical parts. Once again, it did a perfect job. Taking it one step further, I wondered if ChatGPT can also recommend relevant medical codes, which are standardized codes used to classify diagnoses, procedures, and other medical information for billing purposes. Once again, ChatGPT completed the job. So what does this all mean for the various players in the medical documentation industry? Well, the medical documentation industry has been going through a migration from 100% human-powered medical scribe documentation to adopting some technologies such as speech recognition to assist the human scribes, to now AI-powered medical documentation. As of now, the majority of the market consists of a combination of 100% human-powered to tech-assisted modalities, owned primarily by traditional medical documentation companies such as Deliver Health. Today, AI-powered medical documentation represents a very small portion of the market that emerged in recent years via a few tech startups and big tech. Now let's look at how 100% human-powered documentation works. Very simply, when a doctor is having a conversation with a patient, a physical or virtual medical scribe listens in, then synthesizes the conversation into a SOAP note. Next, let's look at how AI-powered documentation works. First, the doctor-patient conversation is recorded. Then, a speech recognition service transcribes the recorded audio from step 1 into a text transcript. Following that, an AI would read the text transcription from step 2 and synthesize it into a SOAP note. Finally, a human such as a medical scribe or a doctor would review the SOAP note generated by the AI from step 3. Now let's look at who the major players are in this field. Doctor-patient conversations are owned by traditional medical documentation companies or healthcare providers themselves. Speech recognition services are provided by big tech companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and various startups. The few tech companies that started using AI to generate SOAP notes include Microsoft Nuance and 2 startups called DeepScribe and Abridge. The human review process is currently conducted by either traditional medical documentation companies or the healthcare providers themselves. Now let's look at who owns multiple layers in this field. First, Microsoft has its own speech recognition, and they also have Nuance, which generates SOAP notes. Then OpenAI, which is 49% owned by Microsoft, also has their own speech recognition, and ChatGPT for SOAP notes. DeepScribe and Abridge built their own AI to generate SOAP notes. Lastly, traditional medical documentation companies own arguably the most important layer in the stack, which is the source data, doctor-patient conversations. And of course, they're also experts in the human review process. As traditional medical documentation companies transition from 100% human-powered to AI-powered technologies, and as the tech companies look to establish relationships with healthcare providers to grow their market share, a partnership opportunity has emerged for the players who own multiple layers of the stack, namely Microsoft, OpenAI, and traditional medical documentation companies. Together, they own the whole stack and can leave everyone else in the dust. There are many opportunities to innovate on the end-to-end process of AI-assisted documentation. First, one of the biggest challenges for AI-assisted documentation is poor audio recording quality of the doctor-patient conversation. This is relatively simple to resolve with higher quality mics and multiple mics. As for speech recognition, the accuracy of medical speech text is foundational, but speaker recognition of what the doctor said versus what the patient said may not be essential, since we saw ChatGPT is able to infer speakers based on the context. In the age where AI is developing its capabilities, and when human review is crucial in the process, the interface between AI and human is essential to help human medical scribes easily interact with the AI-generated SOAP note and upstream data, including text transcriptions and the audio recording itself. As this interface is established, a feedback loop is also in place to continuously improve AI accuracy for different specialties. Lastly, since each doctor has unique documentation requirements, enabling comprehensive and simple customization is essential. Then, of course, such massive amounts of data means a goldmine of insights. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like and share.